everybody, welcome back to Harris Family Adventures. It's been a while. I know, it has been a while. I'm sorry. We just haven't traveled as much lately, but we are back at it. So Justin and I just got back from the Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya. We were there March 20th through the 24th of 2024. I have noticed a lot of changes at the Valentin. We had just been there 9 months ago. We just went last June, and this is our 5th visit. Check the playlist below. I've got tons of videos about the Valentin. Tons and tons and tons. Some of the information isn't necessarily the most up to date now though, because there's been some changes. So this video is going to be about the major changes that we saw at the Valentin in 2024. The first change that I would say, and probably the one that affects us the most, is that they still have the QR codes. Those have been around since 2022. But a difference is the interface of it now. So it is much more user-friendly, and I would say it's much more complete. What's nice is once you scan that QR code, it takes you to kind of like a website, but then you can add that to your home screen. So that's nice because you can just click that button. It looks like this. I don't think you can find it in like the Apple Store or the App Store, I guess that's called. But it is a good place. It's gonna have all of the information you need. And that's what I would say the big changes. Again, they've had something like this, but the big changes is it's much more comprehensive and it's a lot easier to use. I would still double check a couple different things. So for example, the activities link wasn't always quite in line with the activities listed in the journal. And sometimes the journal was right and sometimes the activity link was right. So you still have to, it's not all completely lined up yet, but it's much more lined up. And I would say it has way more information this time, like way more information. For example, I took this about the Privé Club. Justin and I have never done it. It is quite expensive, but they list all of the benefits, everything that you get, how much it costs, what all of the terms are, all of those types of things right there. So I would say they are doing a better job at kind of making that one-stop shop really inclusive of information. I don't love QR codes. If you've watched other videos, you know I don't like the QR codes. I think at this point they kind of realize we're not getting away from that, so let's just try to make it as user-friendly and complete as possible. Some big changes we noticed in terms of dining, because I go for food. I love the food. So we always start with the Italian restaurant, the Mediterranean restaurant. I knew from their social media that they had done a huge like decor revamp. They kind of booths now and things like that. And I like it. I thought it was beautiful before. I think it's beautiful now. I think the menu has changed a bit. I also noticed that even though the caprese salad was still on the menu, which is what I look forward to each year, and I get 2 orders, and I got 2 orders this year, it didn't taste quite the same. Like the tomatoes didn't taste quite the same. And maybe that was just a one-off occurrence, but it seems like the food is different. Not all the food is better or worse, we're gonna get to that. It's just different at the Italian restaurant specifically. Something that's not different is it still takes a long time. It takes a really long time. I think that's the restaurant that takes the longest amount of time. Just know going into it, just you're on vacation. If you really want to make like the show or you have something planned, that is not the restaurant to go to because that one can take a really long time. So that stayed consistent. I would say another big change that we noticed, and I'm going to make a different video about kind of how we spend our time this vacation versus different trips to the Valentin, but Mar and Tierra, we had gone there a couple of times for breakfast last year or the year before. Pre-2020, it was a buffet for breakfast and lunch, and we loved it. We found ourselves enjoying a buffet experience a little bit more for breakfast and lunch. It's a little bit faster to get in and out. There's such a variety of things, and it had become a la carte. So that isn't a change this year, but I do feel like there was a change in the menu, especially the lunch menu. Breakfast looked the same, but the lunch menu is seeing the options were just really expanded, and they've really upped their game in terms of like plating. I mean, they plated things in kind of creative ways. We're not talking like out of this world, whoa, that's so bananas kind of thing, but just, I think they've really kind of stepped it up a little bit. Also a change for me, spoiler, is the penne carbonara, delicious. delicious, delicious. Get it. Feels very heavy to eat in the middle of the day, but it is very good. Also the tomato soup, definitely get that. The French restaurant we did not go to. It is not one of our favorites. I don't know if the menu changed that much. I do know the decor also got updated around the same time as the Italian restaurant. So we didn't go to it. It has always been known as kind of the fanciest and the most beautiful of the restaurants, and it looks that way still. So that had a change. I think Hacienda and Tamansari, I do not believe that those changed. I haven't seen anything about them changing in terms of the decor. We are not super familiar with the menus. We have eaten at the Mexican restaurant before. I don't know if those had any changes. I will say a big change to both the French and to the Italian restaurant is now there's chef's table available, and that's like a private dining experience. I don't know if there's a limit of how many people, and I've seen $82, I've seen $85, and I've seen $92 per person. So I'm not sure which one it is. It kind of looks like it's like a prefix menu. Also in the Italian restaurant, it's a room with a lot of windows, so everybody can see in there. That would not be something that I would choose to do, even if it was free, but that might be something that you want to pursue, and good on you if you do. The big change for us was ginger. So I'm going to talk about that more in the next video, because I don't think that they have had a big change that everyone would notice, but that is a place that we found ourselves loving. So be sure to watch the next one as well. And then the final big decor place that I saw revamped, and this is kind of food, but it's the sports bar. The sports bar has always had those glass doors, just like Don Miguel's has, that you can see in. This one, it has like heavy wooden doors, and they've really changed the layout of that. Unfortunately, we only went once, and we sat there for a while, and it was very busy. No one came to offer to help us, and yes, we could have gone up to the bar, but it just seemed very busy and kind of chaotic, and so we left. But I do know that that has undergone a decor reno as well. Then in terms of pools and entertainment, and I do have my notes down here because I didn't want to forget anything, so that's why I'm looking down. In terms of pool and entertainment, and I would not say this is a difference from 2023 to 2024. Everything else has been. But the big difference that we've kind of noticed over the years that it really hit home this time was it seems like the Go team is in leading fewer activities. So the Go team is kind of their entertainment activities team. They wear the red shirts, the baseball caps, they're very visible. And in 2019, 2020, I vividly remember them. They would come around to people sitting on the pool's edge or in their chairs, and they're talking with them, and maybe they're calling out like, come on, like join this activity. They're really working all day long. All day long, there would be members of the Go team out and amongst the people. And they also led a ton of activities. So there would be yoga in the pool. There would be a couple of pool spinning classes, water aerobics every day, that type of thing. And they are still visible, but it's not nearly to the same extent. There's also still a lot of entertainment. So there's the saxophonist, there's the violinist, there's the synchronized swimmers. I'm guessing though that those are outsourced groups that the Valentin probably pays to come in and do one show a week, and they probably go to other resorts on the other days, which is awesome because those people are tremendously talented. They're just not part of the Go team, and there's something about building that camaraderie with the same people. They start to see like, oh, these people always sit in this chair and we can always chat about this and that type of thing. So we miss that a little bit. Also, the big change that we noticed in terms of the entertainment this year, especially around the pool, is everything seemed to start an hour later. So instead of playing that good morning song at 9 o'clock, they played at 10. And instead of the last big activity in the pool starting at 3, it was starting at 4. So it just kind of pushed everything back an hour. I don't know if that's bad or good necessarily. It was just something that we noticed, and we kind of had to make some adjustments accordingly, which is what I'll talk more about in the next video. If you're interested in Valentin content, subscribe. If you're interested in Mexico all-inclusive content, subscribe, because spoiler alert, we are going back with Reese to the Barcelo. I have other videos about the Barcelo in June. If you are interested in Florida content, subscribe, because we're going there in June. And then Jess and I might have something something in the works for Cabo later this year also. So if you're interested in any of those, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
I can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright.